Nicole Jones here. I wanted to make a video a little bit about what beyond quantum healing is. Sorry, I'm having this reflection glare thing with my glasses. Hopefully it's not too annoying, but I have some notes saved that I want to make sure I have, just in case I digress. So, a little bit about what beyond quantum healing is. Beyond quantum healing is a form of hypnosis that is based on a modality designed by the late Dolores Cannon. Her technique was called quantum healing hypnosis technique. And before she passed away in 2014, she had been a hypnotist for 45 years, and she published 18 books about a whole bunch of different stuff that's very, very interesting and highly recommended. While she was doing her past life regression, she found that many of the body's current issues actually stemmed from past life issues or traumas, memories, and she found that after she walked a client through their past life, that she could call in their higher self, which she found to be an energy so strong and powerful that it could answer any question that the client had, and it could heal them instantaneously, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. She had people come from all over the world to see her. She had people who were cancer patients. She had people that had every type of disease and illness, people needing liver transplants, kidney dialysis, hysterectomies. All of them were healed through their higher selves, and she facilitated these sessions. Today, there are probably thousands of practitioners around the world doing this healing and facilitating this healing, and it's become an amazing thing to watch grow. The connection between mind, body, and spirit are undeniably key to healing. Today, most of society puts their complete faith in modern medicine. However, this paradigm of disease is largely based off of the eradication of symptoms. And symptoms are just simply trying to tell us that something is wrong. Modern medicine falls short on actually identifying the problem. But don't get me wrong, modern medicine is amazing at emergency situations. But for disease and long-term illness, it does not compare to quantum healing through your higher self. Sadly, we are conditioned to place emphasis on the disease process rather than the healing process. Neurophysicist Dr. Paul Goodwin has said that trapped emotions create a favorable environment for disease, and a large number of medical studies show that when emotions are stuck, they affect the body at a cellular level, playing a significant role in health problems. Just this year, in May 2018, scientists found out through experimenting on snails that our memories actually lie in our RNA. RNA holds a bit of our genetic information. So they took a group of marine snails and administered electroshock to them, conditioning them to receive harm. After they were conditioned to receive this harm, they would tap on the snail, and the snail would exhibit a very, very pronounced reflex for 50 seconds. They also had a control group of snails who had never been electroshocked or harmed. And when they would tap on those snails, they would show just a brief reaction just for 1 second. And then they took the RNA out of the electroshocked snails and put it into the snails who had never been harmed. And when they would tap the snails who had never been harmed, they would show that same very pronounced reflex, but for 40 seconds. that is quite amazing because we previously thought that our memories lied in our synapses, but if that were the case, this experiment wouldn't have worked. So that's showing that our memories actually lie in our genetic information. And science has come a long way since the 1970s when Watson and Crick developed the double helix model for our DNA. At that time, they had only decoded 3%, which left 97% of our DNA to be left as junk. They considered it junk DNA. However, in December of 2017, the Oxford academic published in their nucleic acid research that a third strand of DNA has been discovered. It is well known in the spiritual community that we actually have 12 strands of DNA, but mostly they are contained in our etheric body. And now that we're in a time of our natural cycle, which these strands are starting to activate, it's very exciting to see that the scientific community and the spiritual community are coming together to decode and decipher our genetic information. I'm very excited about this. And being that I have a bachelor's degree in forensic science, I need to have that science background. I need to know how everything works. And having a science background on this healing really pulls it together for me, and it's why I can move on and help other people with this. But now that we have that background, I want to share a little bit about my own experience and what completely sealed the deal for me. When I was 18, I was diagnosed with shingles, a very extreme case of shingles. The doctors were very shocked to see that I was so young and I had this condition, because usually people who have shingles are much older and have a very low immune system. And my immune system was doing great, and I was only 18, so they were pretty puzzled by this. I went to the emergency room for what I thought was chickenpox for the second time, but it turned out with some testing that it happened to be shingles. And every time that I was stressed out, I would have this chickenpox-like rash pop up on my arm, shoulder, neck, or face and head, all the way. And being that I was a college student at the time, I was all the time stressed out, so I kept having this come up time after time after time. And usually people only experience the rash just one time. So this became like pretty embarrassing, but also it affected my daily life, because not only did I have the shingles topically, but because it was affecting my nerve fibers, it was actually deteriorating and damaging permanently my nerve fibers. So I developed what's called post-neuralgia, which is a very painful deterioration of the actual nerve fibers. And a little bit about what it feels like would be like if you go to the when you go to the dentist and they accidentally hit a nerve in your tooth and you have that really sharp like nerve pain. That's what I experienced, but all the time. Like, it was a constant feeling of that. And especially in like cold, if the air conditioning was blowing on my arm, or if I touched something cold, it would get a lot worse. So for 11 years, I had countless neurologists, doctors, physical therapists, you name it. They were doing tests, imaging. They were just trying to figure out my case and why it was so bad, and then what they could do for me. It ended up taking over my entire life. I became depressed, I had fatigue, but yet had sleep problems. I had migraines because it was affecting my face, head, and neck. I had pain so bad that some days I couldn't go to work or even get out of bed. I would just lay there with the migraine and be completely useless. Um, After all the tests and imaging, all the doctors did was say, here, take this. I was given an anti-seizure medication, gabapentin and Lyrica, which they told me would stabilize the electrical activity in my brain. I was also given a nortriptyline, which is an antidepressant, and that was to change the chemicals in my brain to change how my body interpreted pain. And when those didn't work, they sent me off to pain management and prescribed me very strong painkillers just to mask the symptoms. But none of that actually solved the problem. And eventually it was just too much. I didn't want to be on medication anymore. I didn't want to be in pain anymore. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I just wanted to be normal. And it just so happened that I was going through my spiritual awakening around the same time. And I was introduced to energy work through Reiki. And I became amazed at what energy could do to heal people. And then I came across Dolores Cannon and her work of quantum healing. And after reading some of her books and understanding what she does, I thought, what do I have to lose? I need to try this. So in my session, I visited my past life, and I immediately knew why I was having this issue. It was like a light bulb went off. It was like, ding, 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 hello. I previously was an energy healer who was condemned as a witch and was set to burn alive at the stake. And as I was burning, I had endured a tremendous amount of damage and trauma to my right arm, my shoulder, my neck, my face, and my head before perishing. So all of this trauma stayed with me and came back out in this incarnation in the form of shingles. So I had to forgive those who had condemned me, and I had to replace the trauma and the negative energy that I was holding on to with positive energy. And when I did so, I watched my higher self etherically come into my body and literally pull out of my arm this thick, dark energy. And I could see it, I could feel it, and I could see it. And then after it was all pulled out, I saw my higher self beam in this white, bright light into my nerve fibers. And I could see them being repaired and replenished. And I was kind of in shock because for 11 years doctors told me that this was permanent nerve damage. I was going to deal with this for the rest of my life and just deal with it. And here I am seeing this healing take place, and I was just kind of in awe. It took me a while to process it all. And since that day, I have not had any issues. I have full control, full strength of my arm. I haven't had any pain. I haven't had any migraines. I haven't had any breakouts of the rash that looked like chickenpox. I haven't had anything. And that's what solidified this for me. That's how I knew that this can be used to help other people. That once people realize the power that they hold in themselves, that they could also be healed. We have had our power stripped from us. Western medicine is a profit-generating business, keeping people sick to generate revenue. It's ingenious, really, it really is. But the natural way to heal is through energy, and we really just have to stand up and take the power back for ourselves. Sadly, the natural way of healing has been minimalized from us for a very long time. What if the world knew that they could heal themselves? Would Big Pharma make any money? This is why I was burned at the stake. This is why people were condemned as witches, because they knew the power of energy and of Mother Earth, and they knew how to conduct it and help people with it. And everybody has this ability. I'm not special. It's just waking up and realizing that you have the power for yourself. I don't heal people, I just facilitate their healing. You just have to wake up and realize and reclaim your sovereignty and understand that you are the creator. You are the healer. Your higher self does the healing. I just facilitate the process. But thankfully, times have changed and we no longer burn people alive, and humanity is starting to see the faults in Western medicine. People are understanding that disease and illness comes from a lot of different reasons. People are starting to eat healthier, eat organic. They're seeking out alternative medicines and alternative practices. And science and spirituality are really coming together to help us understand who we really are. So with all that being said, this is why I have dedicated my time and energy to Beyond Quantum Healing, to facilitate the healing, clearing of energies, attachments, entities, to propel you to the next stage of your life. So what does a Beyond Quantum Healing session look like? Well, we start out by discussing your life, everything from childhood traumas, memories, relationship issues, physical illnesses, your career, your past, present, future, and any questions that you have that you want answered by your higher self. You can ask anything that you're curious about, anything that you've struggled with, anything that you need guidance on, anything that you need clarified, any dreams that you've had, if you want to know what your future looks like. The most popular topics are wealth, health, love, relationships, career advice, where to live, but most often is the purpose of your life, because everybody has a very important purpose, and knowing that can really take you a long way and give you your own unique reason for being here and understanding why you're on this earth at this time. After we go through all your questions and I get an understanding of who you are, then we start the hypnosis. It's basically like a really deep meditation, or like that state when you're falling asleep and you're starting to dream, but you're still conscious at the same time. It's getting there, and you're still fully understanding what you're doing. You're fully conscious. You can hear me the whole time. It's just putting your ego aside and letting your higher self or your subconscious come through. Okay, so then once we reach the theta state of mind, then I will bring you down into a past life. Or sometimes it's a future life or a galactic life, whatever life your higher self seems to be appropriate. And after we relive your life, then I call in your higher self to answer any questions that you have, to do any healings needed, to give any upgrades that are appropriate, to clear energy blocks, attachments, clear any entities that have attached, which is actually pretty common. It's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be fearful of, but it does happen quite often. and then I bring you back refreshed and energized, and ready to continue your day. Every client that I have had has said that this is a completely life-changing experience, that they found purpose to their life, they've answered long-time questions, and reconnected with loved ones even. This is an experience that definitely propels you to the next level of your life. If any of this resonated with you and you would like to have a Beyond Quantum Healing session online with me, then I would love to connect with you. I feel like everybody should have this experience, so I keep pricing very affordable. There is a deposit to book the session, and then after that it's only by donation basis. To inquire more information or to schedule a session with me, please email me at gypsyquantumhealer@gmail.com, and I will post that link in the description box below. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Bye, loves. Thank you. Namaste.